Hello, I'm Cade Thomas, and welcome to Double Feature Movie Club. This is our final episode of our little abbreviated Season 5 and 60th episode of Double Feature Movie Club. If you can believe we've done 60 episodes, then you'd be correct if you believed it, because we have them all, and you can watch them all right now to verify. We have this week is a unique one because we are watching two movies that have both released this weekend in wide release. They had released before this in festivals and, of course, in limited releases on the coast. But wide release, two movies that were came out at the same time. That is A24's Matt Johnson directed Tony, the Anthony Bourdain biopic. It's kind of a slice of life more than a full length biopic. But and then the other one is Jane Schoenbrun's slasher satirical movie distributed by Mubi called Miasma is what we're going to call it for just a little bit. But we'll give the full name later. I am joined, as always, with my trusty sidekick, Diane. Diane, how are you doing today?
I'm great, Cade. How are you? Happy
great.
Election Day. Happy primary runoff day.
Here in Oklahoma. I'm sure
here in Oklahoma.
There's other all sorts of elections around the nation.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Anyway, what have you been up to, Cade? Tell me what's been going on.
Well, we are in the throes of starting season 2 of Trouble Start, my sketch comedy group. So, I'll announce up top while everyone's listening real nice. Next week, we are officially launching season 2 of Trouble Start, our first episode of season 2. So, next Tuesday, a week from today, which, unless you're listening to this as a podcast, which will be sooner than a week, might be out now, but you can listen to, or you can watch our full episode 1, available everywhere. So at Trouble Start, we the full length version's on YouTube, but you can see clips and everything else and bonus content on TikTok, Instagram, everywhere. Facebook, I guess, if you're a Facebook person.
Subscribe,
subscribe. It's fun. This season's
punch
really
all the
fun.
buttons.
We are much more ambitious this season.
Well, yes, you used a lot of my house.
Yes.
And my yard and everywhere else. And I did get to see excerpts of what you guys were working on while you were at my house.
Mm-hmm.
And some of it I had to run away because I was laughing so hard that I didn't want it to get in the soundtrack. It was pretty freaking hilarious. I love the people that you well, at least the ones that I met that you brought by. The cast that you have are just every single one of them seem to be like born funny.
There's really funny people
just
that was like one of the big things this season. It's like we brought on a bunch of different people, and like they are just some of the funniest people that I've ever just even met.
Talented.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Crazy talented. And just, I do craft services too for anyone who's listening that needs someone to do craft services, not necessarily provide a location for shoots, but anyway, just talking to them, while they were loading up their plates, laugh so hard. Hilarious, just amazing people, so gracious. And really, of course, I haven't been watching, every episode you guys have ever done, but the ones that I saw, you guys really work together as a team. Everybody just kind of jumped in and said, what can I do? I may not be in the scene, but what can I do to make it better or help you with it or whatever? And so just joyous. It was joyous.
Oh, well, that's sweet, Diane. Yes. No, it was, these, they were, I don't know. I had just so much fun doing this. And there were some, like I was saying, like this is a much more ambitious season, and it's like we had some long shoots, and I'm just so thankful that a lot of them were available, and they brought their energy the entire time, and really rolled up their sleeves and were like, they believed in it too, and I will forever be.
You can really tell.
That. Yeah.
Yeah, you can really tell that they're really into it, and
Mhm.
and I can't wait for I guess Sunday afternoon.
Oh yes, and then if you're in the Tulsa area, we were doing a live show
Or
on
Oklahoma
Sunday.
City, it's not
Or
that
Oklahoma City.
far.
No, yeah, Northwest Arkansas. It's not that far. You live in Joplin. You
It's
can
not that
drive on
far.
down.
We're taking an hour away
Yeah, yeah. It's yeah, and it's in the afternoon, so you can make it back in time. So it's if it's Sunday
before
afternoon.
dark for all of
Yeah,
us gray hairs.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's over at Drifters Theater. Yeah, tickets are $10, so it's affordable, and you get a good show too. On top of that, it's like Evan Hughes and Kels Cooper and Mary Grace and Eric. They're both. I mean, they're with their group Flow. I mean, this is a great comedy variety show that
Uh-huh.
some of the best talent in the state, I think, as far as comedy goes, and they're putting on a really cool. We've made a really fun little variety show, and then on top of that, we're premiering our first episode, which they're all in and everything. That I'll announce here. This will be. I haven't even announced this. We haven't said this anywhere. This is a long episode. This is our longest thing we've ever produced. Even longer than our short film that it's around. Like, and now that the edits, in and everything, like this is like a sitcom. This is I think we're coming in at, I have to put down some like final little touches on it, but I think we're coming in at like 22 minutes. So
Wow.
it is a
Sitcom length.
it is
It's a
and
pilot.
it reads as a pilot, and like that was always sort of the
Uh-huh.
joke, is that it's like meta. It's like saying it's like a sort of reboot pilot sort of episode, and like it's like welcome back. Like it has like these sort of like satirical elements to it as that. But it also, I mean, it just works as a pilot. It has like a cold open, and it has like 2 acts. It almost it is like the full length of what a TV show episode would be. So it's actually
Without the laugh track.
without the laugh track. There's no laugh track. But yeah, I mean, we were saying like we kind of weirdly reverse engineered, I think, what is a digital sitcom from all, because like we have some formulas that we try to fit with
Yeah.
because of how we break it up and everything. But it's there's, so not only is there that, but we have, I mean, you have to be following us on, I think, on TikTok and on YouTube, but like there's so much bonus content that is shot during this time that was like other scenes and everything that's not even in the full edit, that's going to be out exclusively in like reels and different things on TikTok and Instagram. It's like and YouTube, that I mean, I don't know. I mean, we have a lot that we've produced for this season. It's not only that. Next month, I mean, it'll be monthly. So next month's, oh my God, I mean, we probably won't be back for a double feature by the point of for a bit. So there is a few episodes that'll be between now and the next thing, and like, so yeah, I mean, check it out. I mean, these episodes are insane and really cool. They're really fun.
I can't wait. I can't
Yeah.
wait. I've seen Evan and Kells in action,
Yes.
but I have not seen the improv group. Are you going to be part of the improv group
Oh, I'm not.
on
No,
Sunday?
I have to kind of, I'm running sort of tech. So like so yeah, Mary Grace and Eric are doing they do a lot of improv sets on their own. They're with their group called Flow. It's just the two of them, and they are, I mean, I mean, I now have seen a bunch of improv because fun
Yeah.
fact, I don't know if I've said this on the air. I'm taking improv classes and everything. So I have now been lucky to see a bunch of different improv in the area, and just some of the most interesting, talented. Like, I mean, what they do, what Flo does with their story is so unique and fascinating. That's whenever like I saw them live for the first time, I was like, I just love the two of them. It's the way their brains operate in synchronicity with each other. I mean, they're a couple in real life, they're engaged, but like also, I mean, just they balance so well off of each other and contrast against each other so well. It's a unique experience that is just spontaneous, and like what's so interesting about improv is that, and improv done well is like it's just so hard for me as a filmmaker to watch and see, is because it's like, that's it. Like, that's there, is instantaneous. It's there in the moment. It's some of the most interesting art that you'll see made, and then it's gone forever. And it's like, and that's what it's such a unique, like, you know, painting, or, you know, drawing on sand at the beach, you know, and watching the waves, like, you know, take it over. It's like, you know, you make it for art's sake, and it's like, and it's hilarious and funny. And so, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think, you know, come out here to the, if you're around in this thing, like, we wanted to create a live show. It's our first ever live show. We wanted to create a live show that was just as spontaneous as we want our sketches to feel like, but like it to be, our sketches are out there in the world. They're out there forever. You can go and watch them, but like, kind of make something that's a little bit more ephemeral, and like, in that you can only experience in a live setting. And so Evan's doing a PowerPoint presentation. If you've seen it at university,
Yeah, I saw
and
that.
this one he's doing. So we're kind of doing so he's going to do that. He has no idea what the presentation is, but it's so and he's so good at that. And then Kels, yeah, I mean, you've seen Kels do stand up before, so
Oh yeah, she's
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, and so this was a little bit longer of a set than what she what you mean, you saw her like do
What
like a
normally
type
does,
5, yeah. And so
Well, she has been all over the country here lately.
oh
too,
my god,
so
yeah, she was in
I don't know when she
Colorado.
has time.
She's getting
New
over,
Mexico.
yeah. Yeah, she performed, I don't know if it was 2 or 3 times over the weekend at Blue Well. So she had
Yeah.
she just had a write up in the Tulsa Flyer. Like, it's Kels is doing a lot of things, and it's, I mean,
So
and her
seems like
performance,
I
I
read
don't know if I've
somewhere.
really explained, like, and I wanted to kind of, I don't know if this is a great place for it or not, but Kels's performance in this season, I think, is so great. Like, it's such a unique, like, I think she's bringing something to this performance that it's sustained and interesting, that I have been like, and it's subtle in a way that's like, I don't know. I don't know. I'll need to tell her in person too, but I really,
Yeah.
I'm really impressed by what she's doing with that. Like, she's pulled this sort of, I mean, because like within our story, she plays a person who, you know, is a Nobel Prize winner in her past. And we don't really explain like what that entails. Like, it's for some sort of research her and her sister have done. But she's still hung up with this ex, which is played by Evan, which is this like, I don't know, this, you know, insane man who is you know, somewhat of like an academic sort of fraud that, you know, doesn't like it, you know, he's crass and everything and all that. And like, that dichotomy is so interesting, the way that she plays it, of like someone who's like, you know, was supposed to have been something more than what her life has ended up as, and like, and now she's in this circumstance, and like, and almost is like a weird, I don't know, like she's like, I don't know, like she's dealing with whether or not she like deserves this or whatever, or like, or, you know, it's like, it's so interesting, and it's like all underneath the surface, and I find it just to be a really fascinating, interesting character that I have this season I've really found to be really interesting.
Okay, so in summation, she's actually playing a real life woman who has, which is very typical in the sense that is carrying the man,
Mm-hmm.
even if he is an ex,
Yeah.
because he doesn't have the talent or range or brains that she has. So it's kind of a real life story. It could be a biopic
Yeah.
for several women, I'm sure. But don't let me go there.
Yeah.
Okay, don't let me go there. So, where is this at again? On Sunday?
On Sunday, it's at Drifters Theater. It's in West Tulsa. It's close to downtown. It's Owen Park. If you
Yeah.
know that region or whatever. Real
Uh-huh.
fun place. And then, yeah, it's Sunday at 2 p.m. Central.
Can you
And
buy
then
tickets at the door?
you can buy tickets at the door. I would recommend buying it beforehand on the online. There is no like service fee, or it's $10 straight even if you buy it online. There's no discount at the door. If you want cash, you can pay at the door. You can also Venmo at the door, but I would recommend going through that way, because it's easier for us. It is easier for us in the long run to.
Do you need somebody to work your door?
We have American Mary Grace is working the door, so it's
Okay.
a team
Okay.
team effort. We're all doing that and everything. We're going to
Because I
ask for
know a couple
volunteers on our
that
podcast, or or you knew someone who
no,
could do that.
no, but I know a couple who
If any
does work the
listener,
door on something that I'm gonna like promote right now, if it's okay with you, if you're
oh sure,
finished.
yes, we can.
Okay.
Yes,
So, my niece Anna,
hmm I
and
do.
she's the artistic director at Little Shop of
hmm
Productions,
She's been on
which
the
is a
our
local.
sister podcast, Cade and Friends, which is on a long
Oh yeah,
hiatus.
she has. That's right. And she is the artistic director at Little Shop of Productions, and they are having auditions this week for
Yes,
Doubt.
doubt,
I
which is
think
one of the
let's see
great
on
plays.
the one of the
I
great plays.
yeah,
And August 26th and 28th at the Theater Tulsa Studios at 5521 South Peoria Avenue. So anyone interested in auditioning for Doubt,
hmm
you can go to the Theater Tulsa Studios on August 26th or 28th and
hmm
audition.
and then
I
the
forgot when
performances is later in
it's like in
in no,
October, isn't it?
yeah,
November. You're
November. I think
right.
it's all the way in November. Yeah, I think it's the first weekend of
Yeah.
November, if I'm not mistaken.
It might be because I
hmm
didn't pull that part up because I was
Sorry.
completely forgotten about that part.
Well, I mean, if people were like wanting to plan, because like I mean, their production. While you pulling that up, I'll speak to like their productions are so great. Like and they pull from. I mean, like I think there's so much talent here in Tulsa, and I've been really impressed with. I mean, I think Anna's direction is stellar, and the way that she stages her scenes and everything, and she finds some great talent in order to bring these stories to life. And I think I'm very excited to see what she does with Doubt. I think it's an extraordinary play. It's like I said before. I mean, I think it's one of the best plays. Certainly, American for if you're just talking about American plays, it's extraordinary, and just the way that they tell those characters and everything. And it's simple. It's a simple story that it's complex in its themes. Anyways, Diane, do you have it ready?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't. They don't have
Well,
it. They don't have it as an event out there yet. But you can
yes,
follow them at Little Shop of Productions on
yes.
Instagram or Facebook, and they're a new production company, but they won some awards.
hmm
And like
Well,
you
they
said, there's
started
so
last
much
year, right?
talent.
They were they
Yes,
last year was their
this
first
is
season, and
this is
this is the first
yeah,
show of their second season as well.
correct. Yeah, and they like you said, there's so many talented people in Tulsa
Fifth
that
through eighth, November 5th through 8th.
okay, good.
There you go. So if you're in town, that you can plan. If you're not an actor, I mean, like that's what like you could go and support them by going and seeing the
Yeah,
production.
and definitely want to follow them on Facebook and Instagram. Little Shop of Productions, and you can,
Yes.
when they put the event out there, you can buy tickets there too.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so yeah, their last production was, well, and the one before that were sold out all weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So you had to get your tickets early on that one. Like I said, a lot of good local talent. So
Yes, that's for
I
sure.
can't wait to see what Anna does with Doubt.
Yeah.
She's just something that she's always wanted to do and worked her butt off going through Oklahoma City University to get the degree to support this. So I'm so excited for her that she's doing this.
Yes.
I hope she comes to your deal on Sunday too, because I
Hope
think
so.
that would be fun for her. But she's going to be doing, auditions on Saturday. So we'll see how that works out. She's
Yeah.
probably going to be exhausted.
There's yeah. I mean, it's a busy time. Sorry, I
I
have
know.
a
I'm
bump
going
on
to be
my.
at a Women for Democracy get together on Saturday all day.
Oh
I
wow.
know. Yeah.
How's women?
Doing a
How
fundraiser
are the
there.
women doing with democracy?
Well, we're fighting hard for it. How's that sound?
Okay.
I said women for democracy. It's a kind of a bipartisan women's group that and so we have a deal on Saturday where we have several speakers coming and then we have some
Is it like a
partisan booths
national
there and
organization that, or is it that has a is it
yeah,
like a
this is just
chapter?
a Yeah, this is just our chapter
That's
here
exciting.
in Claremore. So
That's
yeah, it's like a Rogers County chapter.
mm-hmm.
So
That's
anyway,
really
so
cool.
it's exciting.
That is
Yeah,
exciting. Well,
yeah.
I do think we need to actually talk about the movies that we're here to.
I know we probably should. I was looking to see what have I been watching lately, and I think I've already talked about Ride or Die on this podcast.
Yeah,
So
and I'll quickly, if we forgot to do, I forgot, this is really a section where we say what we're watching. I'll be quick with this. Lanterns is great. Watch Lanterns on HBO Max.
really,
Lanterns is extraordinary. I am blown away by how good this is, and I think I know it has a hook at the end of the thing, but I actually like sitting with it.
yeah, yeah.
I think you should watch it and wait week to week, because I think it's
I
actually really fun.
week to week, huh?
I do
Yeah,
think it's a good week to week. I wonder
I
if
do that
how
every
it's
now and
going to.
then.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it, and I'm enjoying, like, I don't know kind of where they're going, but it's fun. I get to think about it. Like, they this will mean nothing. It's not a spoil. It would be, I guess, a spoiler. Well, he was in the trailer. Sinestro. This ended on that they're doing Sinestro, and I'm a big I'm a big DC fan, so seeing Sinestro live on screen is really cool. Which, given, yes, he was in the Green Lantern movie that we're not talking about, but he was. It's this. He looks so perfect, and it is brilliantly casted. And Kyle Chandler is amazing as Hal Jordan, like a middle-aged Hal Jordan. I'm blown away by just how much he nuances in this performance is just extraordinary, and like
Good.
comedically. He's able to sell like jokes that in a dry way that he's able to throw away the joke and sell it. Like, I am just, Kyle Chandler's great in this, so I'm
Okay.
excited about
Well, I
that.
will watch it. I did start the most recent season of Ted Lasso,
Oh
and
yeah.
I love Ted Lasso. It's one of my favorites of all time, and I think it's because of the timing more than anything. It came
Mhm.
along, I think, when society needed it.
Yes.
To be honest with you,
Well, it's an
and this
injection
year,
of optimism and joy in the world.
well,
Yeah.
yeah, that sometimes we forget that's really out there because
Mm-hmm.
we are getting inundated by the opposite.
Yes.
And this year, he's going to be coaching a women's team. So the first, couple of episodes have been kind of the joke has been in England anyway. The women's team is like an afterthought. Their locker room was like, I don't know, it was a closet, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, where in the States, the women's team is actually more popular than the men's team. It's just the opposite there. So it's kind of a fun thing. And so far, the cast has been stellar of these
So is
women
it
that they have brought in.
So is it like an all? It's kind of like a soft reboot. Wouldn't it be if, like, or is
No, they still have a lot of the same characters.
okay?
The owner of the team,
But
the
the
marketing
teammate, I guess the teammates
director.
would all be different
Yeah,
because of
the team is different because it's a
yes,
female team.
yeah,
Yeah, and but so far the people that they have added to the cast for
hmm,
this has been stellar, just
perfect stuff.
stellar. And I love it when people take their work seriously and want to entertain, but also care about what they produce.
Well, and I like that they're willing to shake it up after this many times. Like they could still just be doing the
Yeah.
same thing over and over again. Like,
Mhm.
I mean, um, yeah. So, I mean, because I did I did not finish the last season of Ted Lasso, but hearing that they kind of start to go into a new direction, I mean, I liked
Yeah.
it enough to, I can, it's a nice watch to put
Mix it
on.
up a little bit.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yes.
Hmm.
He brings his son with him,
Oh,
so
that's
that
cool.
adds to it. His son is now living in England with him, and he hangs out with the guy who took over as a coach of the team. That you can't. He uses the F word every other line, but his niece. So they become kind of a pair, so to speak. But anyway, so yeah,
That's exciting.
it was really good. I'm excited about it, and I will check out Leonard's. I didn't, I always wait for these things to normally
Hmm.
have everything come out, and then I binge watch it. But
Yes.
I'll do the week to week for Lantern. I
Well,
will.
good.
I'll
Because
watch it.
I need someone to talk to about it. I mean, people
Okay.
online are talking about it, but but I'm also like,
But you need
this
someone
is
to say,
yeah, it's
this
fun.
is
It's fun.
great.
It's fun. It's a fun
Well,
one.
and I like it when I'm watching like an episode right after you, so I can ask
Hmm.
you, what the heck is going on?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
because like I also think like there's things in it that's like like it's I mean it's for comic book fans, but it's like written for. I mean, it's interesting. They're doing
root
like
for anybody.
yeah, it's written for because like it's fun that's like an added source because like they're telling a new story with these characters, which is what
Yeah,
I do find very fascinating with like what James Gunn is doing with the DC universe is like he is like it's working for both like they're blazing new trails as far as like how they're telling this story and they're willing to be like they're like do things like in the Superman movie where like uh Jor-El is a bad guy, like and so it's like or and like and changing the mythos in certain ways, but also playing into it in other ways. And I think that is what makes it engaging. And they make like a very strong choice in the beginning of this season that's like this is a complete deviation from the comic books, but then like also playing with those tropes in interesting ways. Like I think that's a
yeah.
fun way of doing it because
Which
they're like,
works
what are
for
they
me
gonna?
because it's
Yeah.
been the '60s since I read those comic books.
Hmm. Yeah.
Barely remember them.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yes.
you were talking about this earlier about how different the world is now
Hmm.
versus how it was when you were younger.
Yes.
And I think that kind of leads into some of our movie discussion
Perfect.
too.
Well, that was off air where we talked about that, but yes, that was before we. But yes,
It was off air, but it leads in,
but it's a
it
good
kind of
point.
goes with,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, exactly. I think like what you're saying, we do need to get started with our actual show. So
We
that's a
do
fun
need to
way.
get started.
So first off, we're going to talk about two movies this weekend. You had a choice this past weekend, and I guess still to this day, they're both I'm sure they're both playing next weekend as well.
We actually went to the
We
movies
actually,
this weekend.
yes, we have this whole season. We have opined on the possibility of going back in time and having the choice to choose between two movies in the cinema.
Yeah.
This past weekend, we lived that choice and we chose both options. We did not choose one or the other, and we went to go see both Tony and I guess I'll say it here. Hopefully enough time's passed that the
You say it
censors
one
won't.
time.
I'll say it one more time. Teenage Sex and Death at Camp Miasma. So we tried it. We tried watching the movies, and we did it. We saw them both, and I guess now you're gonna hear what our thoughts are and which one we will recommend next weekend because they'll both be in the theaters. I'm assuming next weekend as well, and you can see if we recommend you going to see those. But first, on this double feature is Tony and Diane. After this short little interlude, will give you the rundown of what that movie is about. You ready, Diane?
Right after I finished chair dancing,
Okay.
do our intro. I am still moving stuff around on my desk. Oh my goodness, here we go. Let's talk about Tony. I love seeing this in the movie, so we're going to have to talk about that a little bit. But Tony is a biographical coming of age drama directed by Matt Johnson that follows a 19-year-old Anthony Bourdain working at a seafood restaurant in Provincetown, Massachusetts. The premise is that it's set in the mid 1970s, woohoo, my era. The film captures a formative summer of the life of young and arrogant Anthony, played by Dominique Sessa, after he lies about getting a writing fellowship and follows a girl to Provincetown. I love that premise. Um, he ends up getting a job in a kitchen, washing dishes at a local seafood spot called the Flagship, and eventually working under a seasoned mentor known as the chef. I think he's only called chef throughout the movie, by Antonio Banderas, who is stellar, but we'll get into that. Instead of this being like a cradle to grave biopic, I said that right. The narrative zeroes in on a single chaotic summer of missteps, mentorship, and an accidental discovery of a lifelong passion for food. So, with that, Kate, are you ready to talk about this movie?
That's a really good synopsis.
I just read the whole thing right here, the AI version of it, because
Yeah.
I'm a technical guru.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay. Well, that makes me like, did you just come up with it
no, I just
rather than
read
a cradle
this.
to grave? Yeah. Yeah. No, they did that. Yeah. That's like, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
here was, I went out
Hmm.
and I wanted to read some about people who knew Anthony Bourdain,
Hmm.
because there's kind of this, 50% of them don't ever want to see this movie because they were friends of his and they think it's
Oh.
wrong. And then there's 50% that, they're kind of okay with it. They're
Hmm.
not okay. They're friends of his,
Hmm.
so they're not necessarily okay with it. But the ones that have seen it have went, you know what? It does kind of capture his essence. We all know that this is not uh, it's a fictionalized version, but it kind of captures his essence
Yeah.
of who he was and how he came to be. And I think there's some real milestones in this movie that kind of gives you that foundation for who he became in
Yes.
it.
And if I remember correctly, now I haven't done a whole lot of research of like the background. I'm glad you like looked that up. Of like, I heard that this is like a very small portion of the book that
Oh,
he had read, like maybe like a
yeah,
chapter or something like it's a
yeah.
very
It's like one summer,
yeah.
but it was a pivotal summer in his
Hmm.
life. He
Yes.
starts out, he's going to be a writer.
Hmm.
He's convinced not only everyone around him, he hasn't actually convinced himself of that,
Hmm.
but he's saying it enough to try to convince himself. You could tell in the movie, he's like, I'm
Yes.
a writer, I'm a writer. And what have you written? Well, I don't know yet, but
Yes.
let me tell you this story I think I'm going to write about.
Yes.
So
I thought, I mean,
I
yeah,
think,
it was certainly like, I think they saw what would be an arc in a movie off of just
yeah,
that, uh, one summer too. And so like, I think zero in on that was a smart choice because I mean, I have started to really like, biopics that are a lot more like, here's a section than like telling
yeah,
this overall story of like, well, they were born, yeah, cradle to grave, a simple way of like, but like, because I think it
yeah, because go ahead.
no, yeah,
Sorry.
I think it's just a little bit, it's just a more interesting kind of way of telling it. Yeah.
Well, and you only live with 19-year-old angst
Hmm.
and uh, like a confidence, but also being arrogant, but also not knowing right from wrong necessarily. You've still got to kind of figure some of that stuff out.
Hmm.
That you can only live that once,
Yeah.
and you really in a cradle to grave biopic, you can't even talk about it.
Yeah, it would just
But
be a
that's
blip.
always
This would
it
be act
is,
one at the most, and if not, even like
yeah.
a shorter version than that. Yeah.
Uh-huh. And you couldn't ever delve into what it was like to actually be there at that point in time. But we have
Mhm.
all been there at that
Yeah.
point in time where we're not really sure of what we're going to be when we grow up, but we kind of have some ideas, but then we get influences that occur to us at the right times of our life,
Yep.
and that changes our course. And
Yep.
this was one that's what I loved about this movie is like this is a truly to me a coming of age flick
Yeah.
from the perspective that it changed the course of his life.
Well, and it
And he had
shows
these
how these various people, like how a person at the right point, whether it's just they were there for just a summer, or even smaller than that. Like think about like the guy who was fired, or spoiler alert, but who was like this person. It was like very clearly like this,
Sal.
yeah, who was a big, like in early in the summer, probably the biggest influence, but then like that transitions to a different, like he becomes closer to the Antonio Banderas character, and all that different stuff, like how someone who could sit there and like cause this influence in your, for just a short period of time, like in like,
Yeah.
and they're in and out of your life, and like and then you zoom out even further, and like all of these people were just a blip in their life but had a big
Uh-huh.
impact.
Yeah.
And I think
And
everyone has
Sal,
those. Yeah.
yeah. And
Hmm.
at the beginning, Sal had a bigger impact because he was really some closer in age and somebody to look up to. And look, he's
Hmm.
getting the chicks, and he's so cool and all
Yeah.
this stuff. And Anthony's 19, or Tony is
Hmm.
19. He's not cool.
Yeah.
He's still trying to find his way, but he's also arrogant about it because he's probably used to being the smartest guy in the room
Yeah.
until he got into a different room.
Yeah.
The room he's always been in, he's been the smartest guy, but now he's in a different kind of room, And but yeah, I love to see that because he grew up so much in that summer.
Mm-hmm.
But he's still, even at the end, he's creating choices that he has to own up to and really face himself.
Yep.
And I say that even though it's I don't know. It sounds like it's a downer of a movie, but it's not. I thought it was
No.
really uplifting. It
Yep.
did have for me, it got a little slow, kind of in the middle.
Yeah.
But then once it got through that really short period of slowness, then it really picked up.
Yeah. And I
And
think there was a way, like, there's a million and one ways where this could have, I think, went wrong. I think that there was like
oh
there
yeah,
it got close. I think in the end, as well as being a little bit like you were like, oh well, at one point you think it's going to go a different way of it being like a real downer of a
yeah,
movie, and then it's like, and then it like teeters to the point of like, oh no, are we going to like go into like schmaltzy territory where like
yeah.
everyone decides to be a good person, and then you're like, no, and so like it figures out a way to like strike that balance, I think, but like it kind of it ends up like, I think at the end starting to like go one way, and then it corrects, but I don't know, it ends in I think in a good
Every
sort of.
scene he has to make a choice.
Mm-hmm.
In every scene he has to make a choice, and it's watching him make those choices. I think that make it so entertaining.
Yes.
It really does. And there were 4 writers on this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So only one of the writers, I think his last name is Miller, said that Tony's mom was inspired by his own mom.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So
Well, I think it
she
was
was
fun to
different.
like the mom isn't actually in the movie all that much, but looms
No.
over the entire thing. Like that is like, and you get to understand her for
Hmm.
just like the 2 or 3 scenes that she's in.
Yeah.
Is such a like, and you don't need her more than what she is. Like you understand
No.
completely what
Who his parents are
yeah.
from just those scenes. And that's was some amazing writing
Mm-hmm.
that they could put just those. Well, in one scene, they're just on the telephone with him, but
Yes.
it
Yep.
really portrayed who his parents were, and you really kind of got understand who he was because of that.
Yes.
And at least some of what the choices were he was making as
Mm-hmm.
a result. But yeah, it was. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I
Yeah. No,
really did.
yeah,
And
I agree.
the more I've sat with it, the more I've liked it.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say, Antonio Banderas,
Mm-hmm.
he needs a supporting actor nom on
Mm-hmm.
this one.
I think
He
I
was
think we both,
so good.
when we left the theater, we both agree. I mean, I think to me the clearest. I mean, like we're starting to get into the year, the tail end of the year, where they're going to do all the Oscar, movies and
Mhm.
everything. And I mean, this might be too. I hope this isn't too early in the thing that people sort of forget about it. But I do think if anything comes out of this, it's a nomination for Antonio Banderas. That's unless this supporting actor category just gets really bogged down and there's a bunch of different things. I think he has a really solid chance for that. Like he's in even just outside of that, it's just a great performance, and it should get
It
recognized because
is.
it is
And I mean, he does more
it's a career
with
best
just a
performance. It's
look.
one of the it's one of his
Yeah. It's one
it's
of his best.
yeah, which
He
I've seen
does
him in a lot
more
of
with
things, but yeah.
silence.
Hmm.
Yeah. He does more with silence in this movie and just with a look than I've ever
Yeah,
seen him do. It's stellar. And
yeah,
I hope he does get a nom at least out of it.
yeah.
You got to see all the movies to decide if he should win, but
Hmm.
it was impressive.
Yeah,
And that Dominic Sessa, he was in
the Holdovers.
The Holdovers. That's right.
Hmm.
And he's like grew up.
Yes. Which I was, I mean, so The Holdovers was his first movie ever, which, but we
Uh-huh.
also watched The
Which,
Holdovers on this podcast. If you were ever,
yeah.
you can go back to that
And
one.
we both loved it.
Oh, I love The Holdovers.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of those ones. I think it's one of the best ones we watched here on the show. But I love that movie a lot. And
It
uh,
should have won some awards.
yes, I think Paul Giamatti should have won the
He
for
should
that.
have.
Yeah. Um,
So,
yeah.
what we were talking about before we got started, we were talking about when we were young, how much the world has changed from when we were in high school or college. And
Hmm.
for Cade, that hasn't been that long ago.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I
Yes.
have underwear older than Cade, but
So,
um,
I mean, to clue people in, I was saying this before the show because it has been a recent realization that I've had, because I mean, the next time you see me here on Double Feature Movie Club, I will no longer be in my 20s. I will be in my 30s. So
so
that's
your
happening
brain
soon.
is now fully developed.
So this will be this. It's it's it. I might be a little bit different next time you see me.
Yeah, probably not.
but um, but no, I was just saying, you're. I'm just looking back, and I think, like, I mean, I've heard this from a lot of people, but that was the first time
Hmm.
I had like looked back, and I'm like, the world in which, I mean, of my youth is no longer the world in which exists now, and like that's sort of a thing that um, was something that you know I mean, I've always heard, and you see different decades and different stuff, and it's like different sentiments and everything, and I'm like, oh, that has now happened in my conscious lifetime. That's
Hmm.
interesting. It's an interesting thing to say. But anyways, that's what was said
Which
before. But
was
Diane, go ahead.
which for me was watching this movie was
Yes.
like a big reminder of how much the world has changed.
Hmm.
This is set in 1975, which I was in college. I was 20 in
Hmm.
1975. I was in school. All those old cars in that movie were new.
Yes.
I think they did a great job of depicting 1975 too, with
Yes.
the mannerisms and the way that the people interacted with each other, and you know, the girl that he has a crush on that he follows to Providence Town. The look
Hmm.
of everything was 1975, and we were talking about how you can't go back to that era because it's long gone, but
Hmm.
for every decade that you live, the older that gets. And for
Hmm.
for Cade, this was like watching a classic time.
Yeah.
It
It's. I
was
mean,
like
again, yeah.
those are the olden days. It's like me watching a movie set during World War II.
Yeah.
Those are the olden days. Yeah,
Well, I think
but
even
for
this.
me, it was my lived experience.
Well, yeah, and I guess it was like, I was just like, I mean, that would be roughly. I mean, I guess Anthony Bourdain were the same age and all that. So that's. I mean,
Yes.
like that's so the exactly yeah. But I mean, I think that the movie's even like about that in a lot of ways, because like
Uh-huh.
you have Antonio Banderas talking about even within his lifetime, like he's older at that point, like that how much time has changed from prior to then to now. Like I think everyone, like, I mean, he's talking about how like community was lost and during that time, and how like even just that had changed in what he had seen there. That plays a central part of this movie
Yeah.
is the clam bake. So.
Yeah. Where they talk about that every weekend there was always a big comic on the
Mhm.
beach, and everybody in town came, and they no longer do that anymore. That
Yes.
those are one of those changes that has occurred and
Yes.
continues to occur.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
love little things like that of like, I love a movie that's set in like this sort of like microculture or something, or like that feels so lived in, of like, here's this seaside town in which like there's the sort of touristy sort of the whatever, the young people that kind of have descend there during the summer and work the little um resort shops and different things like that, and then there's the locals that live there throughout, and like, I mean, so it's like a lot of things. It's restaurant culture. It's also then like the locals that go and harvest the fish that are on the beach. I mean, like there's all these little things that's like comes together, and it feels very lived in, because of that. And you get a little window into a slice of the world in which I think that's the power of cinema, is you get to see this place that I will likely never live in a seaside town and, and know that culture, but I get to see part of it there in right there, and I think it's beautiful and wonderful.
I do too. I
Mm-hmm.
just loved it. I love the deal where he talks about the CIA, and
Yes.
and Tony is like, "You were in the CIA?" Yeah, no, yeah. And
The
I was trying
Culinary
to think
Institute. Yeah.
when did I learn that the CIA was the Culinary Institute of America? I was trying to remember that. I can't
Mm-hmm.
remember when I found that out, but I was thinking, you know what? That makes sense. A 19-year-old wouldn't, I mean, necessarily no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So
in the way he said it was like he's like the people who killed Kennedy was the way he said. He's like,
yeah, he did.
you work for the people.
You were with the people who
Who
killed
killed
Kennedy, because
Kennedy.
at the time
Hmm.
in 1975, that's who killed Kennedy, was the CIA.
Yeah.
One of the many conspiracy theories.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, and
That was.
after I moved to Dallas in 1986, I think I heard them all after that, because they were all every year. It was like, okay, it's the anniversary of our conspiracy theories. Let's talk. Yeah,
Yeah. No. Yeah. I thought this movie was extraordinary, and it was and it just moved in a way that I really like. I that it did have, like you say, a lull in the middle that was like, okay, because you're kind of, I mean, this isn't a movie I would say that does anything that's like broadly surprising. Like it is like it is, you kind of know going into like what are the beats of this sort of a movie kind of like this, and it does those beats. But I think way that it does it is interesting, and that's the part that kind of makes it unique. Is the tone in which it moves at, I think is I think unique and I think the location and the place and the characters that they go about it is in a unique way. But like plotting wise, you kind of know plotting wise where this goes, and I think you're kind of waiting at a certain point of like, okay, let's move. We know how that's going to go, but at the same time, these characters are so unique and interesting that you want to that's the part I think I got really invested in is the world and the characters that were in it. That's the part than necessarily like the genre trappings of the movie, if that makes any sense.
On the Rotten Tomatoes critics consensus, I love this. It says a scrappy coming of age story that's equal parts sweet and tart.
Yeah.
And that's such a great description of this
Yes.
movie. And you
The
can really see when and I have to give the actor credit for this, because how do you show um, when you are not only passionate, but you're totally gigged about creating something that you never thought in a million years you could do?
Mhm.
And he does such a great job with that when you get to, the last act of the movie, when he actually creates a dish
Mhm.
and he can't wait for this girl to try it. And you can just
Boy,
see in
didn't that
it,
dish
this
look
is,
good too. It
oh my
looks
God, it did. Well, lobster thermidor, I've had
yes.
that. It's a good
Yeah.
dish.
Yeah.
But but you can see the change in him,
Mhm.
from he was so full of doubt, but he came off as arrogant, but he's really still full of doubt. But you can see the change in him in that moment when he looks through the window to see her take a bite of that
Yeah.
dish. And then he says, well, I don't want to say what
Yeah.
happens after that, but
I mean, I
if you
do think
haven't
we're going
had
to
lobster
spoil it a little bit.
thermidor, you should have it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't want to spoiler alert it too much,
But
because
it's
I really think people should see this. This is,
yeah.
it's got a 94,
Mhm.
I guess, in Rotten Tomatoes by the critics, but it has a 93 by the audience.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I think
that's a
I
good
think it's a
movie.
crowd pleaser. I think in general,
Oh, it is.
and it does even so I mean, I don't it has, I think, the right tone about it. Like it is like it I don't know. It's kind of a hard tone to describe, because it does have a little bit of melancholy to it. It does have a little bit of this sort of like a kind of like an underlying sadness to it, but it does at the same time, like it like where you're saying like the critical consists of like the fact that it's like it's both it's bittersweet, like, I mean, that's an easy sort of thing to say, but
Uh-huh.
it does have both of those elements to it that makes it what I think makes it a really good story. And all good coming of age stories are bittersweet, but I think this one
Yeah.
does it in a way that I think is unique to making it a biopic about Anthony Bourdain in particular,
Yeah.
where it's taking that element to it that I think is really like the fact that there is sort of that. It's about him really finding a love of of culinary arts is what it's about, I guess, at the end of the day. Like, and then also growing up in that, in the same way of like becoming a little bit more of compassionate person, I guess, or just, I mean, I don't know. But like also a little jaded. Also, I mean, it's all that stuff. It's both. It's all that. It's a good movie. It's got a lot. It's got a lot going on.
Yeah, it does.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have anything else to say about it.
I have a question for you.
Go see it.
I having seen it because like this is a plot thing, and I don't know if I missed a shot or if it was purposely vague or if was reading too much into this storyline. Did he see a notch outside of her doorframe, or am I reading into that? Why was he? What did he see?
He sees a notch on the door across the hall from her.
Well, he turns around and looks at that, but he sees something.
But then
off
he's
camera.
Looking. Yeah, but you can tell he's looking for it.
Yes, he's looking to see if. But I thought there was like a sense of recognition that he sees one. But I don't. But like they never show it, and then then he turns around and sees. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, he sees the notch on the door across.
They definitely showed that.
But I didn't get. I think he looked for it and didn't find it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that's quite obviously what he's.
Because I think they would have shown.
Yeah.
If it was there, I think it would have been shown.
But like
because it would have set.
Yeah. But he's clearly, to me,
he's looking for it.
But he even like fixates on something that like that's where I to me it's like, but it's like I don't know. So I don't know if it was like a choice to leave that open ended. I don't know, or if, but like they also don't show what he's seeing either. So I don't like that's where I'm like I was wondering like so it's not like they're like showing, but no, that's just one of those. I was wondering what your interpretation of that was or anything, but
I thought in my mind, he's looking for the notch because it's going to change how he views her.
Yeah.
If there's a notch there.
Yes.
And he didn't.
Which I think
find
that was
intentional.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, but then at the end of the time that didn't end up even like he uses, he used that as a he felt like he had to come clean, which is always an interesting. That was a fun. That's a good. I mean, the whole it's full of these really great scenes that are just with like him and another character. Like there's so
and
many
every
of these
scene,
scenes.
Every scene informs too about him, about the character he's playing. I mean, every scene informs, and it's not like it has a huge cast either. No. It's a pretty small ensemble.
Yeah.
So yeah. I hope it sees some award love.
Yeah. Yeah. I can really see it. I can see it like getting like adapted screenplay, like the fact that they break up screenplays like that, and so like sometimes adapted has more, and then other times the original has more. Like it really depends on what if we just have a bunch of adapted screenplay, but I could see it also getting a nomination for that if you're considering it adapted from what was it? What was his thing called? Kitchen Confidential?
Confidential?
Yeah. That was, but yeah, no, I highly recommend. I guess I will. Yeah,
I do too. Yeah, 2 thumbs up from both of us.
Yeah, it's great to see in an audience too. I mean, I think it's it's got some comedy, so it's always good to sort of see an audience, laughing at that, but I think it's got a lot of moving parts too. So I mean, it's fun to see in an audience. You could also see it streaming. I don't think it, but I do. I as a fan of the theatrical experience, I think it's fun to go out and see it that way. But I do also. It's I don't know. It you can see it both ways. I think it's fine.
Yeah, I don't think it takes away from it. If you stream it, it's not going to take away from the story.
Yeah.
Like some movies, it really does. You can't. Yes. You really are missing out completely because it's been developed to be on that screen, not anywhere else.
Tobey Maguire walks out to an applause line when he's when he's Spider-Man, and they pause. All the Avengers pause for the applause. When you watch it later, it's when you watch these movies later, people are like, oh. Like I remember No Way Home when Andrew Garfield removes his mask and it's Andrew Garfield, and he's like, waiting there for a second, because everyone has to cheer for him. So that's kind of hurt by releases later when you watch him.
True.
um,
True. I applauded for Toby.
yeah,
He is still my favorite Spider-Man. But then,
hmm,
Michael Keaton will always be Batman for me. So
yeah.
let's not even go down that road
Well, no,
because I have
I can
never
understand.
seen. Yeah,
You've never seen Dark Knight, which is
yeah, I've
insane.
never seen The Dark Knight because it would be like cheating on Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
Yeah. After
Well, I mean, he
watching Val
does.
Kilmer, I didn't. Yeah, from that point on, I was like, no,
Yeah,
Michael Keaton is Batman.
yeah. I mean, he has the best
Yeah.
Catwoman, in my opinion.
Well, it's a group effort. Anyway, so are we ready to move on?
We're
I'm
ready to
kind of
move
making
on.
you move on here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think that's. I mean, essentially. I mean, we're pretty clear on it. It's a good movie. I mean, I don't. We've said it all. I think everyone does a really great job. It's just it's a vibes movie. But it has something to say. I think. Um. I can see how people who there was a bad ways to make this movie, and it has certain things in it that I think like under different direction and under different writing could have come off a certain way about being the fact that it's a biopic about Anthony Bourdain. I think that everything was handled with care, but I think in a worse directed movie, it would have been like, and here's how he learned how to cook, and here's how he learned his drug addiction, and here's his sadness. Like I mean, like there's scenes in here that in a worse movie could have been read a certain way, and I don't think it doesn't do that so heavy handed. But I felt like that was also important to kind of note that those scenes are there, but it's not like done in that sort of way that I think some other like movies are. But yeah, I mean, but you do. I mean, I guess this movie technically does have a scene where Anthony Bourdain first sees heroin, so it's like and it does have that, and I think like in a worse movie that would have been tacky and bad to show, but I think
Yeah.
in this movie I think it shows it in a way like, and even like cocaine, like I mean and all of that, like but it's like I mean that's a big part of back of house restaurant culture, and I think that's kind of how they. I mean, I think it was, and perhaps even that. I don't. Yeah, I mean, that's. I also want to talk about that. That was the one other note I didn't want to say. As someone who's I haven't worked in a restaurant, but I've worked fast food. That's something, or in my youth as well. Like that sort of camaraderie of like workers is such a cool feeling, like that, like the idea of like you're in like the age ranges that you have in that sort of environment. I think it's like that's a feeling that I want to see more in cinema and in whatever. I think it's like such a unique, interesting feeling of like, yeah, there are some people who are kind of deadbeats. There's some people that this is very important to them, and then there's some people that like, and I think that that's a cool, interesting, and there's just different people of different walks of life, and I think that that's
Hmm.
such a unique micro. I don't know, it's just I think it's a cool. I don't know what I want to say about that, but I think that they did a good job of
Well,
capturing
I
that,
think
I guess.
I'm getting it though. When I was in high school, I
Hmm.
worked at Casa Bonita.
Yeah.
Well, and people who don't remember Casa Bonita are too young for it
Hmm.
or are not from this area. It was a huge restaurant,
Hmm.
and
It
it
was
was
also
one
big
of
in
the first.
Denver too, so there's a few people that
Yeah,
don't know. I mean, it
Little
hit a few.
Rock. I mean,
I
they
think
were
there's
kind of
one
everywhere,
in Texas. Yeah.
but it was like the first big Mexican food, restaurant chain kind of thing,
Hmm.
and the there was probably 60 people that worked there, and they were all kids from all over Tulsa. So, although I went to high school at East Central, I was working with people who went to school at Edison and Nathan Hale and Memorial and all these other high schools.
Hmm.
And the camaraderie, I guess,
Hmm.
was huge
Yeah.
there. And uh, after it would close, we would go to the parking lot and hang out together. And
Hmm.
you're right. It's a whole different world
It is.
of
Yeah.
because you're stuck in there together in this
Yes.
hot, horrible kitchen, And whether your day goes well or not, it's going to be dependent on what happened in the last 5 minutes, right?
And it could
It
change
really
on a
is.
dime. Anything, I mean, like
On
that's
a dime. On a dime.
yeah.
One drop tray of cheese enchiladas and your
Mhm.
life could be over, that kind of thing.
Well,
Or you could set fire to the place
exactly.
by
Well,
throwing water on a grease fire.
yeah. Well, and I think like I mean that's drilled into
Because they
you
didn't
like
teach you
crazy.
that stuff.
Yeah.
Huh?
Well, I was drilled. I mean, yeah. I mean, I mean, like, I mean, I assuming because he wasn't taught, but like, I mean, that was a
Well, back
big
then they
thing to
didn't
do.
teach you that
Oh,
stuff.
they
They
didn't tell
just
you.
threw you back there.
See back there.
You went to work.
Yeah.
You
But
know.
I just
So
think of like the the. I mean, whenever I worked my jobs, these were unique people that were in my life for a time, and like they were close, and they were like, but they were
yeah,
like work close, and like you were like in the trenches together in a weird way, and you had like weird things of like I worked a Thanksgiving with them, and it was like dead, and then until the evening, and then we got hit so hard. Everyone went over there
yeah,
to after, I guess, because of Black Friday or what. I don't know, because at that point Black Friday
yeah.
was a weird thing, and which no longer really, but like that Thursday night. But so like, we were like sitting there like playing cards essentially, all the thing like there was no one there during for
Yeah.
several hours. So like that had never been the case of like and so we're like, I guess we're kind of spending the holiday together, and then it's like, and then it like end up being one of the worst
Goes
days.
crazy.
Yeah. But
I went to Brahms the other day, and
I worked at
the
Brahms, so I
lady
didn't
at
never say
the
that, but yeah, go ahead.
yeah, went to Brahms the other day. It was National Ice Cream Day,
Uh-huh.
so Ollie and I went to Brahms to get a pup cup,
Uh-huh.
2 pup cups, one for me, one for him. And the girl at the counter told me, she goes, I said, "Happy National Ice Cream Day," and she said, "Please don't tell your friends." I thought, that is what somebody who works at a restaurant would do.
Yeah.
Don't tell your friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can absolutely see that. I
Mhm.
can remember one night we had Leon Russell and his caravan of people came through Casa Bonita, and of course I'm on the microphone giving the orders, and so we kind of we want to make sure that Leon gets the right order.
Mhm.
And in the back, you can hear people screaming back in the
Yeah.
kitchen portion of it, and the manager shushing everybody and all that kind of stuff. And I don't remember what happened, but it's same
Mhm.
kind of thing. Don't tell anyone.
Yeah.
'Cause we're gonna get swamped, and
Yes.
we want to go home tonight.
Yes. I
Yeah.
mean, that was, I mean,
So
like, yeah, my goodness. I mean, closing, I mean, I still don't go to any place like a half hour before close. I just don't. That's a
no,
rule I
no,
have. I
yeah.
even an hour, like
Once
if it's
you've
within an hour, I'm kind of like, I'm like, I don't know. I just,
once you've worked it, man,
yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
right.
I'm like, they're
It's
trying
like
to already get closed and get everything. And I'm like, I feel strong. And then other people, I don't know if it's just because they didn't work it or they don't care, but they're like, why? They're open. And I'm like, I don't, that's just, I don't do that.
no, yeah. And the people who have never waited tables or worked in their life have no idea.
Yeah.
That's why when we go out to eat, I always put the salt and pepper back where it belongs. Everything goes back to where it belongs, so that the person who's having to clean that table doesn't have to do it.
Yeah.
And that just comes from years of waiting tables. This is how I got through college.
Yeah.
Of course, I guess you can't do that anymore because
Which is
school's gotten
crazy.
too expensive. But
Yeah. That's
anyway,
crazy.
so are we
Well,
ready to talk about the other movie we went to
yes.
see?
Yes, we're ready to talk about the other one. Yeah, I'm glad we talked about that. That was a fun conversation. But yeah,
I
it
really,
brings
and
out
I'm
all
kind
that.
of glad that we saw Tony because we went to the movies together, and we saw
Yes.
these movies back to back on
We did.
Saturday. And I'm glad we saw Tony first.
I'm glad we saw Tony first as well. There was a
Yeah,
chance that we
'cause
were going to have to flip it or whatever, or if we went the night before. But yeah, it
yeah,
ended
I'm
up
so
being
glad. Yeah, that we. Let me tell you.
well, like I remember saying to Diane right before that, I'm like, Tony was I think is a lot more straightforward of a movie than what we're about to see, and I ended up being right. I think it was.
You are totally right.
So
Totally right.
but no, it was fun. We sat in the same chairs, which were really good chairs, by the way.
Different theater.
for
Yeah, same chairs.
yeah, different theater, same chair, but like it was.
We were right there in
We
the
were
middle
right
of the
there.
road. I mean,
Yeah, it was.
yeah.
Those. I wasn't. I'm typically kind of a back row person, but I was like, oh, this. But you can't. you can't lean your chair all the way back if you're in the back row or you're looking at the ceiling or whatever. So it's like it's kind of the perfect place to sit there and be enveloped by the screen. And I there wasn't, I guess briefly I'll say, I mean, other times we went to see a movie in theaters for this podcast, there's been some sort of crazy event that's happened or some weird audience member that's done something to us. But this time I didn't really, there wasn't too much, nothing to report that I remember.
Nobody said around us.
No. I remember.
Even though the theaters were kind of packed.
The theaters were packed for both of these. Yeah.
That choice of seating, I think, was perfect because you didn't have anybody right behind you. Or
we have a giant wall behind us, and there's no one in front.
That's right.
I mean, it's possible there were people talking or some sort of issue happening, but we didn't hear anything.
I think the worst was when the lady was explaining the movie to her husband the entire movie.
That was holdovers.
Yes. Oh my Lord! I thought I am never sitting in the back row with Cade again because this doesn't happen up front. No, this only happens in the back.
We were in the back, and that to me was, and go watch our holdovers review because there was a lot more fresher on our minds whenever that happened. But that was to me one of it's funny in retrospect, but in the time it was like, because like she had to explain everything.
Everything. And you never heard him ask. No. She's just doing it. It's like, I bet she does this with every TV show they watch. Mm-hmm.
There was something about the city. I remember, like we had the specifics on whenever we talked about it, but yeah, it was like a lot of. I mean, I'm assuming he was asking, but we only heard her explanation of it. Cool. Up next, so. Once again, you had two options, blah, blah, blah. We chose both options. We chose to go see another movie as well, and that was Camp Miasma. And we're about to discuss that movie, which is going to be this is going to be an interesting one to try to explain. Diane got the easy one to explain. I'll probably just do very high level. We'll see after this little intermission break.
See what the AI says.
Yeah, here we go. After this brief intermission, it would seem offensive to do AI on this one, but I'll
it would.
Okay.
Because it's such an AI. Well, I don't know. They used a lot of AI in the movie, so yeah, you can.
I don't know. They didn't use AI in the movie. It was all. I think it was very whatever. We'll see. Okay, ready and intermission time.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's intermission time. All these delicious treats are waiting for you at the refreshment stand. Delicious fresh popcorn, ice-cold cola, and candy you know and love. They're all ready for you now, so you won't have to miss any of the feature. Come and get them.
And now, on with the show.
Okay, I'm here to talk about Teenage Sex and Death at Camp Miasma. There it is. It's right there on the thing. This is a movie just wide released last week. It's been out. It did a little festival run, and then it was at Cannes. It premiered at Cannes, and it was picked up by Mubi, streaming service Mubi, and now it's out there in the world. Written and directed by Jane Schoenbrunn, which they were also the writer-director behind I Saw the TV Glow from a few years back, which was also a fantastic movie. This one, it stars Hannah Ingbinder. I don't remember say her last name out loud either, and Gillian Anderson. Big fan of Gillian Anderson from The X-Files. And film follows a filmmaker, which is the Hannah character, who is hired to direct a new installment of the slasher franchise Camp Miasma, which is sort of a take on both Friday the 13th and Sleepaway Camp, if you're an 80s slasher fan like I am, and becomes fixated on casting the actress, who was played by Gillian Anderson, who played the final girl in the original film. So she goes out there. I'll try to do this off the cuff. Hannah goes out there to meet with Gillian Anderson, and she's kind of a recluse. They're saying it's sort of like a Sunset Boulevard type thing. They wonder if that's going to be the case, but she's living out in the former camp that the movie was filmed at. The original movie was filmed at, and like that becomes like a shocking revelation of like why is she living out there on the actual camp, and this movie goes into surrealist territory. It's very clearly like in and out of this existence of whether it's meta or whatever, and it's surrealist. We will kind of go, I think, a little bit more into details, but like there's extended sequences that take place in the movie, and then it's out of the movie, and then you don't know what's exactly real and what's not. There's a lot of use of like matte paintings and then like VHS different stuff and film grain. It switches mediums back and forth between digital and film. It does. It's really kind of like a mixed media piece in that sense. Anyways, that's Camp Miasma. Diane, what was your thoughts on the movie? I did a bad job explaining that.
It's really, I think it's kind of hard to explain.
Yeah.
To me, I think from the director writer's perspective, obviously a huge fan of 80s and 90s slasher movies. Obviously, this movie to this person was a kind of a love letter to it, because the character of Hannah, who plays the director of the new, what's going to be the reboot, I guess, of this series, is obviously a huge fan of this series.
Yes.
One of the, the kind of fan who knows every line of every movie, every murder and what, order they were in, every shot. I mean, that the super fan level that some filmmakers can become of certain genres. And she is that.
Yes.
I mean, she right up front, it tells you she is bonkers. I mean, not bonkers, but she is like totally consumed by.
And there is this meta
movie.
level of like, quite obviously a self-insert for the actual writer director too. Like it's very clear that there's this meta take of like, this is a film that's a take on a filmmaker that's making a take on a slasher movie. So like it's very much like a snake eating its own tail of meta-ness that yes.
Now you can tell.
Yeah.
She's playing the actual director and writer of this movie.
Yes.
And there's a couple of things. I am not a slasher movie fan. This is like the 80s and 90s. These were not, not something I was interested in at the time because I thought I was an adult. I was like Cade's age. So, but I did appreciate the opening of this movie where they show the VHS tapes.
This opening is great.
The freaking sequels have been made. The Camp Miasma. What was this? The killer's name? I forgot.
It was the Little Death.
Little Death, thank you.
Yes.
Where Little Death goes to New York. I mean, it's like every sequel
which was
that you could come up with.
Jason goes, takes
some
Manhattan.
Of that,
yeah.
Yes, yeah. It is hilarious. I mean, this opening sequence is hilarious for showing all these sequels. And I thought, even watching it at the time, I thought, this is so classic slasher movies because they never end.
Yes.
No matter what you do. And I love the fact that the title of the slasher himself is Little Death because you can't kill him.
Yes,
because he's going to come back in a sequel.
Well, it's so very clearly like it's obviously a take on Jason or Freddy Krueger or Michael Myers and all that. And
any of those people.
Yes, and they're all reference like those also exist in this world. But it very clearly is like, I mean, like they even like say, I mean, it's I don't know. I mean, it's not taking place of it, but it's perhaps, I don't know. Anyway, but the point being is that it's a take on that, and you sort of see all of those little things that you had seen, like the fact that like Jason in his mask is everywhere. This event and all of that is, which I was at first one of the things I'm like, are they ever going to explain why Little Death has a vent hat or the helmet that's a vent, like, and that,
I
that
know,
doesn't
that's a
play
vent,
in the
yeah.
in the character. The character, it doesn't have any reason for the character at all. But then I realized, well, there's really no reason that Jason has a hockey mask. That's
Yeah,
the thing.
there
He's
really
not like
isn't.
he found a hockey mask on the wall of a barn and then takes it and puts it on, and then that's just his look. It's not like he was a hockey player that was killed or anything like that. So I'm like, and I guess technically speaking, that's the same thing with like Michael Myers just
It
finds
could
the
be
mask.
anything.
Yeah, like it's all of
It
these
could
people.
be anything.
Yeah,
I kind of love that was a tongue in cheek too.
Yeah. Well,
You know,
and Freddy, I
that it
think,
was
just has scissor
what
hand.
looked
I don't
like an
think
air
he's-
conditioner.
Yeah. Yes.
Looks like he's wearing an air conditioner on his head.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty funny. I love the fact that there are parts of this movie has, there's a lot of Easter eggs referencing other slasher movies.
Yes.
But there's a lot of, it's a lot of fun too. It kind of pokes fun of itself too, its own genre,
Yes.
because it does in that opening sequence show the filmmakers making one of those sequels,
Mhm.
and they pull the head off and it gushes like a volcano. And I mean, it was hilarious. There were
Yes.
parts of this that were absolutely hilarious because of the take that this director takes on it.
Yes.
And he's doing the combination of making fun of the genre while loving the genre,
Yeah, there.
and he pulls at every trope, and God bless Hannah,
Yeah.
because she's the one who had to do most of those tropes,
Yes.
so but she has fun with it. You can tell she commits, man. She is
Yes.
she's gonna have fun with this role. And Julian Anderson, did I say that right?
Jillian Anderson.
Sometimes Jillian. Sometimes I kind of like. Anyway,
Some people say it's Gillian, so it's a weird one that
I
she
know.
pronounced
I always kind of, trip up on her name. But
Yeah.
anyway, she is stellar as the former movie queen. I mean, she has
Yes.
the hat thing. She's got the blonde hair.
Well,
You
it's
think
so
this is like
old school
Betty
Hollywood.
Davis,
Yes.
old Hollywood.
Yes, it is.
It's like when they pulled Betty Davis out to do a movie. I can't remember which one it was, but she just played it, and she has everything about it. Her mannerisms are perfect for that old Hollywood movie star.
It's Sunset Boulevard. It's a little bit of, because like one of the ones that but yeah, it's Betty Davis. Yes, there is a movie that it's very similar to. And then
the other one I was thinking was Barbara Stanwyck. She always played the femme fatale.
Yes.
In her movies before she did The Big Valley and all that other stuff. But
the other thing I was going to say is that it's very similar to, so Jillian did very famously and like got a lot of critical accolades for being in Streetcar, and I think like the accent is very Streetcar and all of that stuff, and so it's like it almost even has like almost a Tennessee, because she has a Southern draw essentially in this movie, which is a strong choice. And great. She's fantastic in this. There's a scene in this movie that people talk about. It's pretty early on, and I knew about it going in. Diane did not. And reacted. There was clearly a guy who got up and left. I think he was just leaving to go get snacks or whatever. And Diane says, "I should have left with him." And
yes,
it's the chicken. It's the KFC scene that it is one of the only things I knew about the movie going into it. Is like people online were being like, "What on?" Or like you're either on board for this movie. I love a movie that like early on in its thing is like, you're either on board with this or you're not. This is your chance to get out. Like it tells the audience, this is your off ramp. If you're not into this, you better just leave now. And this movie, it is you can put it down to 2 lines. That is like, this is your get out now line, and it is dipping sauce. Like where she's like, "I love dipping sauce," and this is Julian Anderson, and after that proceeds to be a 2-minute long montage of them eating KFC and dipping it in dipping sauce.
Yeah, and I thought maybe this is a a reference that I don't know because I'm too old. That maybe dipping sauce means something in the world of
No,
that I don't
I
understand, or
think
if it's
it's about. I
just
think it's about
maybe they're going to make it mean something.
to me, I think it's about, which is, I love this. I do similar things in my artwork. I think it's the idea of using it's making this parallels of consumption and the idea of like,
Yeah,
capitalism, and sort of like the idea that like there's this is just another kind of form of like, just like how we kind of view movies as these sort of brands and IP and different things like that, and it's a source of comfort um but it's at the same time it is, how do you divorce that from capitalism and consumption that comes from that. The same thing is that with food and the brands there, and I think that, to me, that's what that somewhat recognizes. It's like it's particularly drawing a direct line between KFC and slasher films, or like a franchises. They're franchises. They're both franchises, and they're both can be as
well, this
delectable.
movie is full of franchises.
Yes,
I mean, it has every movie candy that's ever existed.
it does.
It has, oh
Cereals.
yeah, it has cereals.
Yes,
It has. I have never seen more product placement in my life.
and I don't think
And
I think there's no way that they paid for any of that, because it's also a little. It's so tongue in cheek that it's almost comes across like it's mocking it. Like the
yeah,
all of the stuff. Like I don't I like I it it's part of the art, which is, again, I love that. I do that in my stuff too. I have a film that we did that for. I love that, these things litter our lives. These ads and these stuff, it litters our lives. It's only right that we get to take that back in a way and make that into our own art. Like it's the fact that, like, these things have become so ubiquitous. It's Andy Warhol making this Campbell soup can. Like it's
yes.
pop art. This is an example of pop art, and I love that. And I think some people get it. Some people get Roy Lichtenstein pulling comic book panels and doing things. Some people get Andy Warhol painting the Marilyn Monroe in the Campbell soup can and all that. Some people get it, and then, I think of Last Supper, one of Andy Warhol's Last Supper, where he's like, here's my version of the Last Supper, and it is a black and white image of the Last Supper, of Da Vinci's Last Supper, and it's splattered with a bunch of color logos of Dove and McDonald's and all these different things, and it's like, that's the modern day Last Supper. And it's like, our world and our art and our things are littered with commercialism, and I think that that's what this film's sort of saying, and I think that's cool. I think it's cool. I think it's punk rock, and I think it's cool. But
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it used to be a bad thing when you had all these brands showing up in a movie, because it was like, oh, this is just their marketing campaign.
Well, I think there's a
But
difference
this
between
particular
what
one,
this does and then like what Michael Bay does, where you have, Optimus Prime wrecks a thing, and then Mark Wahlberg, picks up a Bud Light and is like, and drinks, and is like, I love it. Like, there's a difference between that and what this does with brands, I think. But yes, I don't know. That's just my opinion on it.
Here's the thing. I think the whole KFC came about because the crew was hungry. They sent out for KFC. At the end of that scene where she's got the tray, and it's the last scene with the chicken, that after that scene was over, those people chowed down from the crew.
Yeah,
They did.
well, they might not
And
have
they
been
all
real
took
chicken.
candy home.
Well, I don't
know.
I
I don't think
personally
they would have gone to
think,
all that trouble to make fake chicken. I think they would have just got the real thing.
personally, there's no doubt in my mind that every single one of these things were in the script from the get-go, before
I'm
any
sure.
sign. And
I'm sure.
I think,
But you still know that crew ate that chicken. They ate the chicken. They split up the candy and took it with them.
Yeah.
This is part of, what they got
Yeah.
for being part of the crew.
Yes,
Yeah.
the candy was
Anyway.
interesting. Yeah.
So I think,
so,
yeah,
there's,
from my
there's so
perspective,
much things in this movie.
after I've sat on this movie for a couple of days, I've
Yeah.
decided that I'm going to take it from the perspective that the director and writer of this movie truly loves slasher films, and he wanted to make a film
They wanted to make a film.
that
Yes, yeah.
they wanted to make a film that reflected his love of it, and the things that are funny about them too. They don't take themselves too seriously, and they didn't take themselves too seriously making this movie.
Yeah, I mean, I think
And
it was fascinating
and
to see. I connected to this film a lot of ways. I think that this filmmaker Jane is
well,
one
yeah,
of.
you're a slasher.
Well, I mean, I also was a big fan of I Saw TV Glow. I mean, I think the way that it's a movie about trying to it's about being a film fan, but like in particular, it's about this idea of like the head and the heart. Like that's what are you doing right now? Can you hear?
I'm sorry. This is calling my attention there. I had to take care of that. It was going to go on the floor.
The idea that like you're trying to understand why you love something, and you almost try to intellectualize it. And the idea that like, I love this because it's good, but it's like, oh, but it's like something that's bad, but it's like, it's bad for a good reason. And the idea that like, at the end of the day, you're like, the reason why it's good is it's something that affects you emotionally. And there's no way to quite intellectualize that. But as someone who is, like, is interested, like there's a line that's said in the thing early on with Gillian Anderson's thing. It's like, you're trying to make this, this academic, or you're trying to look at this in some sort of academic way, but at the end of the day, the reason why Camp Miasma connects with people is that it's all because it's flesh and fluid, and like that's this idea that there's something carnal about it that's at the core of this thing, or that's it's I don't know. What I love about this movie is that it takes these feelings and it dissects them in ways that you can't even hardly explain. Like you can gnaw at it and take this angle of like, why is this the way? And is it bad that I feel this way? Like it's a love letter to like, this might not be the best thing to love. And is it make me not a great person for liking it? And it's like, and it's confronting some of those feelings that we have as a society that move past all these certain points. And it's like being able to love all sides of that, which also means loving the sort of darkness within yourself, is in confronting that in an interesting way. I think that that's what this movie is about. And I find that to be, wow. That this is what filmmaking is. I think it is taking these concepts and trying to figure it out, trying to figure out what this is, this whole idea of being a human, and then like on top of that having this meta layer to it. I think it's a movie that works on all those levels, but trying to put to words a feeling that you can't even describe. And that's what like makes this a hard movie to even talk about, because it's like, if it was that simple to define, this movie wouldn't exist. And if it was that unnuanced of a expression, this movie wouldn't exist. This movie is a 2-hour movie that is about the complicated nature of being a human and loving art, and that in art that goes against everything that you maybe find moral. But God, doesn't it feel good? And why is that? That's what this movie explores. And I think it's a fantastic movie about it. And it's one of the best, if not the best, I've seen this year. Spoiler alert. Of movies that were released in cinema. I agree. So it's currently sitting at the top of my list of movies that I've seen in theaters this year, because I do think it is an extraordinary exploration of what it means to be human. I think.
Uh-huh. I'm glad you could find all of that. I think you have to be a slasher movie fan to really get all of that out of that, right?
I don't think so. I mean, I think it
Oh,
certainly adds
yeah.
to it. I mean, I think there's certainly even parts that are like it's written to even like an industry audience too. Like there's certain jokes that are like meta from that perspective, and then there's certain jokes that are like, I mean, but to me, I think that's.
I'll be
I
so
think you
glad
could.
when the term meta stops.
Well,
Okay, so it
we're
does.
living in meta modern
Yeah.
times. Like, you know, we live, like,
Yes.
if you want to say that there was modern times, there was postmodern times. We're now in meta modern times, and like,
Yeah.
I know that everyone wants to kind of like whatever about. It's like we
Everything's
live.
meta.
And it's not even, you know, post ironic now. It's meta ironic. So like that's part of it. Like, I mean, that's. Our art should be that way, should fold in on itself like that 3 times. And it's like, I do think there should be a level of like, movies should still exist on a surface level and be enjoyable on a surface level. But if you want to dig deeper into it, there should be meta readings. That's my philosophy on art, that there should always be a meta reading to it. Now, this one goes head first into the meta world. And I think that like some people do find that to be exhausting or tedious, but I don't know. To me, it's fine. Just ignore that stuff if you don't like it. It still works on its own. But yeah.
Well, it does have a 95 from the critics, Rotten Tomatoes,
Mm-hmm.
and then it has a 79 by the audience. So, I mean, it's still, it's a very popular movie, I think.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it constantly, you have to admit here, you had no idea where it was going.
True.
And
that is true.
And it reinvented itself all the time. And in any given moment, like the fact that like you're 30 minutes into the movie and all of a sudden it's now the movie within a movie for an extended sequence. Like you're not even seeing the characters that you come to see. And that's just one of the twists. And then there's 20 million twists after that of like how it changes its perspective, and not just how its perspective, but how it's shot and how it's told and how it's like it leaves you on this journey that's extraordinary. And I think that Jane Schoenbrunn, if I'm pronouncing the name right, is one of the most unique voices working in cinema today. And I can't wait to see what they do next. Like that's and it's probably not going to be everyone's taste, but it's I still think it's I mean, wow, what a perspective.
Yeah. The critics' consensus on this was a bloody Valentine to slasher horror that celebrates personal self-discovery as much as it does the possibilities of cinema, which is, I think, what you were trying to say with it's not something you can describe. It's a feeling. It's, it's, and I think that the personal self-discovery, not only for the characters, but also for the director of this movie. I think that those are tied together.
And what a vulnerable thing to say in this. Like that is
exactly
the where this ends, because like it's putting yourself out there as a film. Like this not only just deserves applause of like there's things in here that I mean, what a brave and interesting yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, like it swings for the fences, and it's like that is leaving you vulnerable in a way. And I think, applause to Hannah for also be willing to go there with the director. This is something a lot of filmmakers wouldn't even touch. They're probably not that deep to be able to tell something that interesting, but also to feel that way and put it on screen for everyone to see and dissect and be able to take uncharitably, because there's some perspectives in this that's like that's that could be taken in a million and one bad ways. And I don't know. I mean, Brave doesn't begin to describe, I think, where this movie goes in ways that I thought was really cool. Sorry, I think very highly of what was all about that. But it's fun. I mean, it's also really a funny movie. there's like, I mean, I think of like the Zoom call. I was all I'll kind of say about that because it's kind of later in the movie. The Zoom call in this is hilarious. Like that is like a point in the movie. Like that's one of those and like Dylan Baker appears in it in that point. He's like one of my favorite character actors. He plays the executive that was like late to the meeting, and there's like the Michael Myers joke and all that. Like there's like that, and like that's just such a joke that like an executive would say, and like and it's like yeah, gosh, I don't know. There's just a lot of.
I watched a couple of critic reviews on this, and one of the guys who was kind of in the industry, he goes, "We have all been on that Zoom call. We've all been there, and there is always that one person that doesn't have a name, that doesn't talk at all, and if they do, they say something so profound that everybody else shuts up." And it was the queer assistant. It was that's all it says on the Zoom call is everybody else's name except this one person, and all it says is the queer assistant. And so it's like
even his isn't named either. He was the one who was the Dylan Baker's character of the executive. They're like, he's going to be late, and then he comes in and it says Michael Myers, and it's like, and he's like dressed up as Michael. So like I don't know if they ever kind of reveal his name either. I think that maybe it's Jeffrey. They say that they say he's going to be late to the call, but I see it. But then there's the queer assistant. Well, and the fact that it's like just a fun little in joke of like Shara Sherman's character is just like my agent, and then like you see the reverse of it of it's like it's my client, and then like she's out there and like the big like there's the just like weird things of like she's saying this at the outside of a rock climbing wall, and then like Shara Sherman's going to passes a rock climbing wall in her scene. Like there's just little interesting little smart like that's production design. What I'm fascinated. One thing I want to talk about. Or did you have any more with that? What do you want to say with that?
There was one other critic that I wanted to quote here, and this is from the Observer in UK. It says the meta mayhem and the final 30 minutes is all about subverting trans horror tropes and taking ownership of queer identities in genre theater cinema. And I think that is really true. I think that is true. It's a sly acknowledgement that guilty pleasures are sometimes the purest pleasures of all.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, basically what you were trying to say is that it acknowledges that guilty pleasures are sometimes the purest. Yeah. And and that anyway,
and
I think
why
it does
the critics
outline
exist
that.
Because they can say it a lot more cleaner than a filmmaker can.
That's right.
They can interpret
they can
it,
bring
and
that
make
down
it, like,
in a couple of sentences,
whereas like it takes but like they can't do what Jane does, not to disparage critics or whatever, but like
no, but they can appreciate
the
work,
and they can appreciate the work, and they can distill it in a way of like, well, I mean, I guess that was what took them 2 hours to do. They could do it, but it's like that again. It's like the intellect, in whatever they whatever word I'm trying to say, of that, but no, I thought it was all just a very fascinating thing. I don't like, which is also why I didn't choose that poster for our thing. I don't like that the poster is one of the last moments of the thing, like that which I had heard some of people complain about that. Like it kind of ruins a little bit of a moment in the film, and it's like I understand it's a strong visual, but it's like that's not the I don't like that. But no,
this is not your mama's slasher movie, and that poster kind of looks like your mama's slasher movie. You know what I mean? From the 80s, so it kind of has that feel to it, but that's not what this movie actually is about.
No, it's
not. So I know you would recommend this highly.
Yes,
because you said that, right? I think if you're a fan of slasher movies, I think you would enjoy this movie. It is deeper. I think people get out of it whatever they can perceive from it. Some people are only going to enjoy, you know, the tropes that come from slasher movies. I'm sure of that, but they'll still enjoy it because that is enjoyable for slasher movie fans. And some people are going to enjoy the way you enjoy it from a filmmaker perspective, and all the added little details that make this movie, you know, the sum of all the parts. It's all those little details. You talked about the branding, you know, the painted back
The matte paintings.
what's it called? Yeah, it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you knew you were into not in the reality part of the film, you know, to kind of, it informed you. Every scene kind of informs the next scene and all that. So I think
and the
that
switching between digital and film was also like a really cool
that was
aspect.
pretty cool. Now I will tell you the one thing I did that we have not talked about, and I think we should just a little bit, is the joke, I guess. Is it the joke or the fact that the director has framed Hollywood's current approach to everything is, you know, add a queer character or bring in a queer person to make this remake, and that Hollywood is kind of thinking, okay, that'll solve our box office problems. Let's just do that. And you could tell they kind of said, okay, let's throw this in everybody's face and say, you know what you're doing? We see what you're doing here. Right.
Well, I think in particular, it was I wonder if Jane was approached to do a reboot of Sleepaway Camp. Is like it feels like that's what this is saying.
It does feel like
because,
it, doesn't it?
Because Sleepaway Camp in particular was a movie about the reveal is like the killer was trans, and like it is a very like in a movie that is actually like a pretty solid slasher movie. It has this really glaring problem of like woof, you know, in the middle of this, and it's just like not appropriate in this day and age of like how that is. But there's people that are trans that are like, there's ways to interpret this that's better, and like there's people like, oh, this is heinous, but I also can enjoy the film on other merits. Like there's a million and one opinions on Sleepaway Camp, and I think it's one of those films that Hollywood would love to reboot or to do, because it has certainly, they have rebooted pretty much every other franchise that had a slasher in the 80s that people love has come back in various ways or forms. And this one, they're like, we do not know how to touch this. Yeah.
If you took all those 80s slasher movies and tried to make them today, they would be all problematic. Yes. All of them would be problematic. And I think that is kind of the way that this director is saying that now. You know, I've got this. He's kind of putting that in everybody's face, going, okay, it's all problematic now, but it wasn't in the 80s. So, you know, what kind of hypocrites have we become?
Yes. Well, and it's the fact that like they're still out there and people are still watching them, and new fans are even existing from it. Like, and like, and there's even the idea of like, this character, of course, would have seen this movie when they were a kid, well after the film had existed too. So like they're seeing it in a different context in which the original audience members have seen it. Like, cause like they grew up in a time, Hannah's character grew up in a time in Jane in real life grew up in a time that, these franchises already had several different movies. And so like they grew up with it in the time in which it was a franchise film. And so like, and that's a completely different context in which the original people had, you know, like people had seen it in theaters and all that. So, I don't know, but like, yes. And so it ends up becoming a point in the film is, they brought on a queer filmmaker to make this movie less problematic. And so that's one of the things that, like Hollywood and these execs are like, oh God, this is going to solve our thing of like, we really just need somebody to, we want to make this IP, but we need to have this distance from it, like that saves us, like that essentially shields this corporation from taking, like they just want to make money. Can we just please make money in like this way?
Yes.
It can maybe like do it. And so in sort of what are the consequences of doing that? But yeah, no, I think that like, so it has that aspect to it. That's like that meta aspect. But it also weirdly has this, like, without going into too much spoilers of it, like, it also has this very, like, this is also a movie within the franchise of it all. Like the idea that, like, does little death exist in our world? And, like, what that is. Like, the fact that it then... like the fact, I find this so endlessly fascinating. I love meta. I say I'm a big Scream fan, and so like this, like, even takes the baton of Scream and takes it to infinity, and I just love that. Like that's and the fact that, like, and they even reference New Nightmare in this movie, which was kind of like the first time that this sort of meta take happened, and with Wes Craven's New Nightmare, which I'm a huge fan of New Nightmare as well, and the idea that, like, we're going to take this even further if, like, the movie itself is part of this franchise. Like, I think there's so much there, and that's where it's like, yes, I think slasher fans are going to like this movie just because it's a slasher movie where the body count is high and there's, you know, satisfaction, I guess, in that sort of capacity, and people get impaled and whatever. Certainly, there are people that are going to like it like that. I think that there is people who enjoy cinema. There's that aspect to it. Like, it tells an incredibly good story. And I do think that people who enjoy dissecting things, I think this is a movie for critics as well. Like, I think this is a critic-proof movie because it's about film criticism, and it's about that sort of thing. So it's like, it does have a really, like, highly, just like I think a lot of Jane's work, it reads almost like a essay on filmmaking. Like, it feels it is highly and intellectualized. That was the word I was trying to come up with earlier. That is a big part of the film for that. So yeah. But it also it's a movie about, like, that, as well as, like, falling into your sort of based in season. Like, what does that all mean? But yeah, that's Teenage Sex and Death at Camp Miasma. Diane, would you recommend people go see that movie in theaters?
I don't think this movie is for the general population or for just casual moviegoers. I think it is a great movie for filmmakers and people who love slasher movies. And, of course, Gillian Anderson fans.
And boy, is she on a generational run. Although, can we just also
She
give
really
her,
is.
like her, I think what she's doing in theater, I think you can trace it back to, like, I think The Fall was the sort of, like, I'm a huge X-Files fan, so I would trace it back even further than that. But I think, like, the sort of, like, character actress Gillian Anderson is started, like, around, like, when she was in The Fall, and then, like, she did, like, when she played Mish Havisham on Great Expectations, on the BBC's version of Great Expectations, was, like, I think, like, a lot of people were like, oh wow. And then, like, when she did Streetcar, and then, like, there's a few of those that started, like, to really stack and, like, make people. And then, of course, she did Sex Education and Hannibal, and, you know, and all these other things that, like, I think a lot of people kind of saw her.
I've always appreciated her what she picks.
Yeah.
There's nothing. She's never been pigeonholed into anything specific, right? So she shows up in the most interesting places, and her take is always interesting.
Yes.
You know, the way she looks at it, the way she approaches the characters, what she brings to the film, everything. Mm-hmm. Usually, if she's in something, I want to see it because I know she's going to make good choices, and whatever role she's playing in is going to be stellar. Even TV roles, things like that.
It seems like no,
Yeah.
no roles beneath her if it's like a well written role, or it's not like she's like
Well,
I'm not going to
right.
do that. She's
Yeah.
always done, you know. I mean, it seems
Yeah.
yeah.
So, and this was definitely a different kind of role for her. But at the
Mhm.
same time, every role she takes is really different than the last one. So
Yeah.
I kind of love that about her.
Yes. No, I firmly agree. She's great. She's one of the best. I
Yeah.
um cool.
So I don't think this movie is for everyone, but I do think it has an audience.
Yeah. I think this
It
movie's for
definitely has an
everyone.
audience.
That's my opinion. I think the movie's for everyone,
No,
and everyone
it's
should
not
go
for
out there and
everyone.
see this immediately while they can,
No.
because cinema's great, and I love movies, and this is a movie that's great, and I love it. And I don't care who you are, or what you are. You need to go to the cinema and see this movie as the quickest you can, because it's great.
He'll be 30 in a few weeks, you guys, and he'll grow up at that point and realize that not every movie he loves is for everyone.
This
He will.
movie is
In a couple of
everyone.
weeks,
Everyone,
we're
go
waiting
see
for it.
this. See it now. Okay,
We're
we're gonna
waiting for
go
it.
after
Okay.
this. We're going to we're gonna have a really fun segment for you at the end of this little preview of next time. It's preview time. Get ready for a cool segment.
And now, preview time. When it comes to entertainment, you can't beat a good film. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
Let's take a look at what's coming your way. Well, Diane, this is the last episode, so there's not a lot coming your way. Typically, at the end of the longer seasons, we would have what you call our best and worst episodes, which were some of the best episodes we ever had, I think. I enjoyed them. I don't know if they got the best views or people like it, but I thought they were a really fun time. And we always really liked them. It was a fun segment, especially when we had 30 films that we were looking at, some of our longer seasons. But essentially the way that we would do those episodes is we would pick our bottom 3 and then top 5, and we'd go through, and there was almost always a situation where one of Diane's worst films were in my top 5, and always a situation where the other guys
It's probably going to happen again. I have a feeling it'll happen again.
Where the opposite happened. But then there was always a time in which in our top 5 there would be one or two that we would both agree were there, and so those were Hall of Fame choices. I think of Black Coat's Daughter, and I think of Bad Education. Bad Education was one that we agreed was really great. I'm trying to think of these other ones that were the case, but there were a few of those that were Hall of Fame ones. But this time we did not have as long of a season. We only had 5 episodes, 10 movies. We decided to give ourselves a challenge on this episode to say what our bottom 1 was and our top 3. This is a little bit of a different situation because there's movies that, of course, we had seen before, which is typical. This season's been a little bit different than our past seasons. We have seen some of the movies that we watched, and then we also saw, and there's older films. We typically haven't had this much of older films, and then obviously we had 2 films this week that we saw in theaters, which typically those would be excluded from our thing, but we decided to include all 10. So, with that in mind, do we want to start with our worst one?
I think we should, because I think we're all going to be surprised.
I think you're going to be surprised. I hope my bottom one isn't in your top 3, but I get the feeling that there might be a chance that it is. So I am fascinated by. So, in which we've done this before too, but I don't know. I'm fascinated, and I get the feeling that yeah. So, anyways, okay. What is your bottom one, Diane?
We only just picked one, right?
Yes, we only picked one.
We can only pick one bottom movie.
And I think we can agree that there were some stinkers here this year.
There are stinkers, but you have to give people A for effort, right?
You do. Yes, you do.
And you have to, you have to penalize those who didn't effort. And I'm going with that.
You're penalizing someone who did an effort?
Who did not.
Did not. Oh.
A movie that could have been good, but they screwed it up so bad it wasn't.
I would. Mine's also for that. But go ahead.
Evolution.
I almost picked
Evolution. Not because it was the worst movie or that it was worse than Maximum Overdrive, but because it had the potential to be good.
Yeah.
And they just failed on every level. I couldn't even bring in Dan Aykroyd correctly. I mean, come on.
I think Dan Aykroyd actually probably was one of the highlights of the film.
It probably was, but the whole thing was wasted. The potential was wasted, and that's why I voted it as the worst one, because Maximum Overdrive is a crappy movie, but it's also one that if you had a bucket of popcorn, you'd be okay.
I was shaking
your head going,
yeah.
What were they thinking? I mean, it had a goal. It had a plot. It was like doing its thing.
You're absolutely right. I think so. Evolution would have probably been my second worst. So you're absolutely right with Evolution. It is definitely it's definitely they missed the mark on that one, and that's a shame. I'm still glad I watched it though, but but just to have seen it, but yes. It is a particularly rough film. And I would also agree with, I think most people who would have assumed with the movies that we had watched that this would be an easy win for Maximum Overdrive as well, but I don't know if I'd put it in the bottom three. It wasn't good.
It was exactly what you expected it to be. It was like, not like it was, you had any expectations.
Well, and I guess I would have thought it would have been worse. Maybe this is a thing of expectations where I thought that I was going into
all the Razzie
Overdrive.
Awards.
Yeah. That I was like, oh, well, this is actually better than what I thought. And then you go into Evolution and you're like, well, all these people involved means it's got to be at least something.
I still can't get over poor Julianne Moore. I mean, what a waste.
What a waste.
The stuff they made her do. Oh my God. This is one of those movies she's got to regret.
Well, I'm sure she got paid well. I hope.
Yeah.
I
doubt any of them did. So what was your worst movie?
You gonna guess what you think my worst one is?
Well, you didn't pick Maximum Overdrive. I
didn't pick Maximum Overdrive. Didn't pick Evolution. Those are the two.
Pick Evolution.
I think you're gonna be shocked by it. I do think you're gonna be shocked by it.
I doubt it was the anniversary. I've forgotten now all the movies that we watched.
I'm gonna say
I know it's
I found
not
this
Independence
to be.
Day.
I'm going to. This is purely based on. I thought this movie was boring. And I think to me that is always the biggest cardinal sin. And I think that it was one that I had. To me, it was a chore to watch, and I found the tone to be indecipherable, and quite frankly, the lead to be insufferable. And every single person in this film, minus I guess Robert Duvall, I hated Phenomenon. Phenomenon is my worst movie. Is that in your top 3, Diane?
No.
Okay, good.
No, because it's one of those movies that is watchable.
Mm-hmm.
That you can watch this movie and go, oh, okay, well, that was a movie, and not walk away from it with a good or bad impression. But Evolution, oh my God.
I could see why you dislike. I'm glad I had seen Evolution. That's where I drew the line. It's like I was really struggling between the two of these. And then I also think like Miami Vice was another one that like I couldn't bring myself, because there was so much, because of Michael Mann. I think there was some interesting parts of it, but it was also kind of tough to watch.
Expectations.
Yes.
Expectations. You'd expected Miami Vice to be really, really good.
Yes.
But it really, really wasn't. And then you expected Phenomenon to be really, really bad. But it was actually what those actors could do. They weren't any they didn't reach for the star. I mean,
I
none of the
I
actors in this movie played anything but themselves.
I found it to be
Phenomenon. But
befuddling.
Evolution.
I see.
Oh my God.
See, I'm sorry, but I like where I drew the line is I thought I was like Evolution. I'm glad I watched. I'm not glad I watched.
Why?
I don't know. I'm glad I watched Evolution just to have seen it. I am not glad I watched Phenomenon. I wish I picked a different movie. I could have gone my entire life without having watched Phenomenon, and my life is, I think, categorically worse for having seen it. And I know that that's perhaps a really harsh of a thing to say about this sort of.
And I feel that way about
banal-
Evolution too. I feel like in both those movies, there is one scene in each of those movies that I just even watching, if I had watched them when they first came out, I would be ready to kill the director for including these two scenes. One is when Julianne Moore is required to show her garter belt and her legs. She was required to be this clumsy woman that can't stay on top of her shoes. So she has to fall and show her underwear every time she does it. And it's like,
I'm not going to
okay,
defend.
that's problematic to me. Totally
Evolution.
problematic to me.
If you're trying to give
In
me a defend
Phenomenon,
Evolution.
it was the washing of the hair.
The
And it's
shaving
like,
scene.
oh my God.
The whole the whole
Yes,
shaving
the shaving
yes.
scene, trying to recreate that, Out of Africa scene with Meryl Streep and Robert Redford, and it just failed. It was just fail miserably. The thing is, though, I could expect that out of John Travolta to have a scene like that.
Yeah.
But what they did to Julianne Moore
Yeah.
has changed how I feel about her as an actress.
That was an early role for her. Yeah.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah.
That was horrible. It was a horrible thing to do to her. And to me, that's why that movie's the worst.
Okay. I mean, I can agree. I
We
mean,
got it.
Wait, I don't. I mean, yeah. Yeah. Evolution
Phenomenon wasn't even on my radar. I was like,
yeah.
I watched a movie called The Woman in Cabin 10 with Keira Knightley.
Yeah.
On Netflix. It's kind of like Phenomenon. It's like I watched the movie. I don't remember a lot about it, but I did watch it. And that's kind of how Phenomenon.
And to me, that's worse.
Evolution
I don't know.
will stay with me because it
Evolution
was so bad.
I remember almost everything that I think that happens in Evolution. I don't like it.
Oh, God.
It's a grotesque, ugly-looking movie that has a series of scenes that are seared into my mind that I hate. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's a memorable experience that that I at any given moment I wouldn't say I was bored by, but I hated it. I hated it. But
Evolution is one of those movies I could have walked out of.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. And Phenomenon probably. I mean, like I said, it didn't make an impression, a dent one way or another. It's one of the 1,000 movies I've watched that I've completely forgotten about.
Yeah.
So either one, I wouldn't recommend either one of them to anybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless you're a John Travolta fan.
Would you agree that Phenomenon's the second worst? Or would you say Miami Vice or Maximum Overdrive?
I didn't really think about that. I just assumed you would say Maximum Overdrive was the worst.
I ended up liking Maximum Overdrive more than I thought it was going to.
It's kind of like a slasher movie. It's like it's just what it is. It didn't take itself too seriously, and
got a cool soundtrack.
It has every trope you expect out of a movie like that.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't deep in any way. It was very surface level. Yeah, there was not. But I mean, I think other people would say you would think Heartburn, but I was like, I end up liking Heartburn more than I thought it was going to. So, yeah.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
I saw that originally in the theaters and didn't care for it. Yeah. But I didn't really care for it because of Jack Nicholson. Yeah. I think he phoned it in.
I would agree. Well, I mean, he was a last second replacement, so he might have, had to. I don't know.
Jack Nicholson's always kind of been that way. He either loves the role.
Yeah.
He loves the role if he's the star.
I think he was very clear. I think he was doing this on a favor, and and yes, with all those people involved, should it have been a 10 out of 10 movie? Yeah, probably. But we've talked about it at length on that one too. But yes, but anyways, it's better than I thought it was going to be. Okay, top 3. Well, we should probably go quick with this. Cut to us 30 minutes later. Okay, that's it. 3. What's your third one, Diane?
Tony.
Okay.
That's my number 3.
That's number 3.
I thought that was a really enjoyable.
I love
movie.
Tony. That's a really good movie.
Yeah, I really thought it was a good movie, and it's a time frame that I can relate to, and it's. I kind of love that. I love movies that are kind of set in the 70s in a framework that I can remember.
I love Tony.
Notice I did not talk about drug use on my part.
Yes. It's not in my top 3, but it's probably just off there. Tony was great. We talked about it obviously just in this podcast. Number 3 for me, Miasma.
Well, I thought that would be your number 1.
It is not my number 1. I have to be fair, Diane. We watched a lot of movies from throughout different ages. It's that, this one's, new and everything. But yeah, it's number 3.
But that's your favorite genre. It's the heart of who you are as a filmmaker.
I don't know if it's the heart of who if that was the case, I'd make slashers. I don't make slashers.
Well, I think you do a really good job of transitioning between the comedy and the horror. I think you're really good at that. The short that you did that has been to a couple of festivals in the kind of horror genre is
the scariest thing of all. Turning 30.
The scariest thing of all is turning 30. It's the combination of comedy and fear that is a lot of nervous laughter in that but I love that. I think that's you. Okay.
Thank you. Number 2.
So what was your number 2?
You may say
my number 2?
Let's
Little
say
Miss Sunshine.
That's also my number. Do we have the same 2 and 1? I get the feeling we might have the same 2 and 1.
We're going to have the same number 1 just because of who we are. Yeah. We know what movies we love.
So mine's also number 2 is Little Miss Sunshine, and number 1. Let's say it at the same time. 3, 2, 1. Independence Day.
Independence Day. How can you not love that movie? How can you not love it? I mean, just for Bill Pullman on top of the Jeep with the megaphone yes.
Gotta love Independence Day.
Oh, I do. I love it. I watch it every time I can. When you're channel surfing, which is probably not something people actually do anymore, but I'll always stop on Independence Day.
And Little Miss Sunshine, I hadn't seen it before. It was on my list, and so I'm so glad that it's. Oh, I love that movie. Yes,
that's the second time I've watched it, and the first time I watched it, I didn't know some of the other details about it that I appreciated a lot more on my second viewing. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad I saw it again.
Well, I guess now you sort of knew what happens to the characters again without spoil. I mean, like that, so you could kind of see how that. I can see how appreciating it in retrospect. I might have to watch it.
Yes.
Again.
Yeah, and I appreciate Alan Arkin so much more. Mm-hmm. Than I did when I watched it the first time around. Yeah, and it's probably because he's gone.
Yeah. Oh,
and he won.
He did.
He won a supporting actor role for that, and he makes this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even after he is gone in the movie, he's still making the movie. Yeah. Anyway,
that whole cast, I think, is just brilliantly cast, and so I think Independence Day, both of them, kind of weird 2 things to combine. It's hard to. These are. All these movies that we watched were insanely different from each other, but Independence Day to me is one of the all times, and it's one of the few times that we talked about. Just one of those oh my god, I'm glad we talked about it, and Little Miss Sunshine, I don't know. This was an interesting. So there you go. Those were our things. Now we're gonna do our little wrap up. This was an interesting season. I really like this. I don't know if people enjoy this sort of. Look back, and I think it's one of the this was an interesting. If we look back at this is our 5th season, season 1, we were like figuring things out. Season 1, we drew the movies. We didn't know week to week what the next 2 movies were going to be, and so there was like no thematic ties to these movies or anything. So like we had a list and we randomized it and we picked out and we learned what we were doing week to week. Season 2, we planned it and knew ahead of time. Now I'm trying to remember what each of our seasons were. But we started to transition into it being a little bit more pre-planned, and then it was like grouping together genres.
We had
actors.
themes,
Yes.
actors, and
yeah. And so like now this season, which was like a shorter run, but it was the idea of like we obviously did movies that were released the same day and like actual kind of like what could be a double feature or whatever. I don't know. I liked them all. I mean, I like them all. I kind of liked. I like this as an experiment. It was fun to kind of. This is obviously we picked films that were older than what we had in the past. Almost always before this season, it was movies from the last decade. But I think this was like kind of a fun experiment. I enjoyed this a lot.
yeah, because you got to watch movies that were made before you were born that you would have never watched if you hadn't done that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well,
I have a list of movies. I have a list of movies I think you ought to watch but that you haven't seen.
Yes.
That I think as a filmmaker you would love.
Yes.
And but at the same time, they're dated.
Yeah.
So it
I mean, I
depends
like
on
a lot
how
of
well you
older
can watch a
movies.
dated movies,
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
Out of
some-
Africa. Have you ever seen it?
I have not seen Out of Africa.
It is a cinematic
Mm-hmm.
chef's kiss. I
Yeah,
mean, it's
I've heard good things.
beautiful.
Yeah.
And I think you would love it. I think you would love that movie. There's several like that I can think of that I think you would truly enjoy.
Yeah.
But if we hadn't have done that, you would have never seen Little Miss Sunshine.
Well, it's been on my list. That one has actually legitimately been on my list for a long time.
Yeah,
but this gave me a reason to watch it
Yes.
now. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think that's even like whenever we were doing things from the last 10 years, I wouldn't have watched all the movies you've seen on this podcast
No.
because
me neither.
and it was a reason to see them, and there was a lot of really great finds that we had to wade through a lot of really bad ones too. Fun fact, there's a few of our TikToks that we'd have that still circulates. People find them. The ones there, people will land on our the Bernie Madoff one. Wizard of Lies is one that people on TikTok still land on for some reason. And then they'll land on young adult.
What a terrible movie.
Yeah. People will
It
land
could have
on
been good. Again,
Yes.
it wasted potential.
YouTube. People, the one that gets recommended is Melancholia and and Climax.
Oh,
Which, in all honesty, is probably one of our best reels because it's 60 seconds
we
of
are
us
just like,
completely disagreeing with each other. So I get maybe that's the key of virality. But then there's 3 people talking for 20 seconds of like disagree, just switching back and forth.
Yeah.
But,
no. Yeah.
But that's a fun one because there's people in there that's like agreeing with like, yes, this is the worst movie I've ever seen, and then it's like, no, I love this movie. So it's that's a fun one. That every once in a while there'll be people that still comment on that, or like, we both disliked Melancholia, and so we get people who are fans of Melancholia. It is a well-loved movie. Eric
why
had
I
sent
don't
me-
know, but it is.
yeah. Eric sent me a list today of like New York Times of like the top 100 movies from the 21st century. From like they compiled a bunch of critics and their top movies, and they aggregated it and figured out what was essentially like the top 100, and Melancholy is on that list. And so it's I don't know. We were
Oh my
neither Diane or, but like I love half of Melancholia. I love the wedding, Kiefer Sutherland, that handheld, that part of Melancholia. The other part of Melancholia, I'm not a huge fan of, but I don't know. This has been a long episode. Thank you for sticking around for this special season and this special episode. I hope you enjoyed it. This has been a fun time. I don't know when we're going to return next. I know I'm going to be pretty busy. In fact, this week I'm really busy and I didn't really have time to do this, but I made time to do this because I enjoy the show. It's I enjoy talking with Diane. It's always fun talking with Diane. I enjoy the outlet that this show brings, and every once in a while, I bring it back in a blue moon. In this case, it's been 2 years since we had it, and I think it's a time, and it's. I've tried to sort of psychoanalyze why I bring this back or anything, and it's like, I think it's just, I don't know. It's about making something and just having a discussion about art. So much of my other things that I make is about, I don't know, putting it out there, and like you have to promote it or do the little things and all that. And it's about, in this one,
It's making the soup.
Yeah. And this one is, I was like, oh,
you get to enjoy the soup.
Yeah. it's getting to watch something and talk about it. And it's like, every once in a while there's a push and pull that I know I have of like, whenever we were doing this before, of like, oh no, I'm just becoming a consumer of the thing. And I was like, I need to actually go out and make the stuff. And so like I had that push and pull. And then like now it's like I've spent all this time producing this stuff. I kind of miss just sitting back and enjoying the art a little bit. And so like that's why I wanted this season again. It's like, and maybe didn't do as much promotion on it. I don't know, but I just enjoyed watching some things and talking about it with someone I enjoy talking about it with. So Diane, thank you for doing that.
Well, I enjoyed it too, Cade. This is the one thing that has been true since the day we met a decade ago almost, when you think about it, is we enjoy talking about movies.
Yeah, we do.
And although I wouldn't pick all of the movies that you've made me watch on my own, I am grateful for the ones that I did watch, because there were some real jewels in all of this. So, although we do see each other outside this podcast, and we do talk about movies, some not to the level that we get to when we were doing the podcast itself.
Yes,
because I learned more about you as a filmmaker from this podcast than I do from watching you actually work at it.
Yes. Well, I think it's, I get to talk about it all in a way. Like, I mean, I think you see the final version of what I made, but like, it's, I don't know. I don't know if you had watched, there was a documentary that this student that I made about Trouble Start. I probably should have plugged that. That just came out this week, and I shared it
I did know that
on our stories, just yesterday. But like in it, I'm talking about comedy and about why we make these things and why we do this stuff, and I'm like, oh God, I'm like, I guess probably this is what this podcast sounds like, but I'm like, shows how much I listen back to this podcast. But it's like, somebody's like, well, I think it's this way. And it's like this stammering, incoherent, like string of thoughts about why I think this is important. And it's like, I don't, there was some sort of point in that thing, and like and I'm glad that it's like strung together in a way that's like, I don't know, I like to think I'm somewhat profound, and then I listen back to it and I'm like, oh God, I mean, there's some diamonds in the rough, but it's people have to kind of wade through it a little bit. But perhaps, I hope my art is a little bit more coherent than the way I speak about it. But I,
we can only hope.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, it's a good documentary, and I'm glad that he did that and everything. But yeah, well, cool.
I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah, it's fun. It's called Starting Trouble. It's on Everglades Films YouTube channel. So yeah, that we were all interviewed for it, Alex and Mary Grace and Eric, and we can't talk about.
So when does your the profile in Tulsa People come out?
Ooh, don't know if that's public information, Diane, but I'll talk about it. It comes out in a week, so it's literally next week.
We're not going to have another podcast before then. So.
Yeah, our profile goes out on September 1st, so it's in the September issue of Tulsa People. So yeah, they're about Trouble Start, and it's. I saw a preview of it, which again I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about all that, but the headline's really cool. I don't know. And then like the photo I saw that they were going to do is it's a fun little thing. And I had to do they had to call me for fact checking, and I was like, I'm like, oh, you know, and they're like, and you said it's the most ambitious season yet. I'm having to hear back what I've promised in this thing. I'm like, yeah, hold me to it, I guess. I mean, that's a quote. But no.
Well, it's only your second season, so obviously you can say it's the most ambitious yet.
I mean, it's the most ambitious in the sense of like, certainly just the length and the scope. I mean, that's which is what ambitious
exactly.
means.
Exactly.
But no.
You're cool.
Yeah. Cool. Well, that is Double Feature Movie Club Season 5. We've done 60
Season
episodes.
5.
120 movies. I guess we did have some specials in there too, but yeah, that's crazy. We've done it. We've officially done it.
We've done it. And hopefully we'll come back again soon.
Sometime. Yeah.
Sometime.
No
promises.
No promises. We don't I think anytime we've promised, it's got us into a mess, but we'll
It has.
But we'll see. Maybe it'll be
right.
another 2 years. Maybe it'll be 2 months. Who knows? It could be.
It could be.
It could be.
You just have to subscribe and like and comment to
Yes.
find out.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
right.
Hit all of the
Follow
buttons.
us everywhere. Yes.
Yeah. Follow
us
Trouble
everywhere.
Start. Follow Cade, me. I'll refer to myself
Double
in the
Feature
third
Movie
person.
Club.
Double Feature Movie Club. Follow Diane. Follow.
You're welcome to find me if you can.
Yeah. In real life, track us down. Tell us you're a fan. Stalk us. Don't do that. But it's funny if you don't.
Stalk Cade. Don't stalk me.
Cool. That's the show. I
Okay.
appreciate all the people who enjoy us and watch all of our content and support us and everything. It's always fun talking movies with you,
Me
Diane.
too.
Bye.
Back at you, Cade. Bye.